Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to another rifle cartridge review. Today's rifle cartridge, the 7mm Remington Magnum. Stay tuned. If I could pick a year that was Remington's best year, it would be 1962, when they introduced their new rifle, the Model 700 Remington, and their new rifle cartridge, the 7mm Remington Magnum. They introduced their Model 700 to compete against Winchester's Model 70. It was a little bit cheaper to manufacture. Some people would say they cut corners. Other people would say it was a better design. It was a different type of action. It was push feed design versus controlled round feed. Different type of ejector. But was very reliable. Was very accurate. In fact, possibly more accurate than the Model 70. And like I said, it was a little bit cheaper to produce. And therefore, the sales began to increase, and people were starting to flock toward the Model 700 versus the Model 70. Now, we know in retrospective that Winchester should have not changed anything about their Model 70 and maybe had to increase the price, whatever the case, to make it viable and to continue to make profit. The things they did in 1964, of course, was a bad idea. They cheapened their Model 70 to kind of be more similar to the design of the Model 700, and for Winchester fans that did not go over well. But the Model 700 was a tremendous success, and even to this day that platform, that base action design, is still one of the most popular when it comes to long-range accuracy, whether it's F-class or anything like that. So it's been a very, very phenomenal success. And the cartridge, the 7mm Remington Magnum, has been equally as big of a success. So two very popular cartridges of the day was the .270 Winchester and the .30-06 Springfield. The .270 was known for being very flat and fast, had a trajectory that was flat and was easier to hit things at, say, 300 to 400 yards because of how flat it was. The .30-06 was known as being very versatile and had basically killed every animal in the world at that point. But it definitely was going to have a little bit more energy, mainly because it had heavier bullets. And the 7mm Remington Magnum was billed and advertised as much energy as the .30-06, but as flat as the .270. And for all intents and purposes, it did exactly that. So if you love your .30-06, but you wish it was just a little bit flatter shooting, 7mm Remington Magnum is your ticket. If you love your .270 and you love how flat it shoots, but you wish you could get a little bit heavier bullet and maybe have a little bit more energy on target, 7mm Remington Magnum is your ticket. Now, Remington in 1957 had come out with their .280 Remington. It had a few name changes throughout the years. It was not very successful, but it basically was a .30-06 neck down to .28 caliber, very similar to the .270. Mainly because of poor marketing and poor names and twist rates, it was not as good as it could have been. However, it's a very good cartridge. Around that same time, Winchester began to come out with some of its Magnum cartridges, and one of those was the .264 Winchester Magnum. They offered this in their Model 70 as the Westerner. It took the case of the .375 H&H or the .300 H&H, necked it down to 6.5 caliber, a little bit shorter, fits in a standard action, and it was very good for Western style hunting. So Remington decided to have another go at that 7mm hunting cartridge world, and the .280 didn't perform as good as they wanted to, though it did have some fans. They decided to take that same design of what the .264 Winchester did, but have it in 7mm. So you could look at it as they took the .264 and necked it up, or you could just say they went back to the original design of that H&H, necked it down, shortened it. Basically did the same thing the .264 Win Mag did, but in 7mm. And it was a roaring success. One reason it was a success is because it was much better marketed. Like I said, they knew their crowd, their demographic, and they knew what people wanted in a hunting cartridge. The 7mm is a more versatile cartridge, especially back then, as far as a range of bullet weights. corresponding to the twist rates in the guns at the time. Therefore, you could get up to that, 175 grain bullet, shooting at, 2,800, 2,900 feet per second. It could be very deadly at long range, but you could, go down to 120 through 160 and just really be ideal for killing white-tailed deer or antelope or mule deer. And they kind of learned some lessons from the 280 and marketed this much better. In fact, it's the main reason why the 264 kind of just faded away. People just preferred the 7mm Remington Magnum. The thing I will say about the 7mm Remington Magnum is it just works. If you're a hunter, it just works. It wasn't designed for long-range target shooting, though I'm sure people have done that. It is designed as a killing stick. It's designed as a hunting cartridge. So once again, going back to that H&H parent case, it's a little bit wider at the base, and you definitely are going to get more powder in that case than, say, a 30-06 equivalent. You're probably going to get about 18 to 19 grains more powder in the 7 Rim Mag versus the 280. About 15 more grains versus the 280 Ackley Improved. And about 6 to 7 more grains more than the 7mm Winchester Short Magnum. The ideal barrel length for a 7 Rim Mag, in my opinion, is 26 inch. With that much powder to get the potential out of the round, I would say a 26 inch barrel is preferred. But you definitely could drop down to 24 inch, even 22 inch, but you're really going to need to focus on the type of powder that you use and think it through to make sure all that powder gets burned. But when I think of a 7 Rim Mag, I don't think of a compact, lightweight rifle. I think there's other calibers that would, or other cartridges and calibers that would be better for that. When I think of a 7 Rim Mag, I think you want the most potential out of the round you can get. So 24 to 26 inch barrel, loaded pretty much to max, with as heavy of a bullet as you want, it's a very good hunting round. I don't currently own a 7 Rim Mag. I have in the past. I did own a Remington 700. I have known many people in my life that have used 7 Rim Mags and still use 7 Rim Mags. And I have never met one that didn't like it. I've never met one that said it didn't do a good job. It just works. Met a lot of people who preferred a 270, preferred a 308, preferred a 30-06, but for whatever reason just decided to try out a 7 Rim Mag, and they noticed a definite increase in killing power. Seemed like the deer was hit harder, seemed like the deer fell over easier. There could be some detractors that, in the area that I live, a lot of people like a 30-30, more of a brush type gun, and they would probably say it ruins less meat than, say, a 7 Rim Mag. But if you're making the ideal shot and pinpoint accuracy, you're going to reduce meat loss. But it is just a phenomenal round. What separates, or what makes the 7 Rim Mag stand out from, say, a 280, 280 AI, 7mm Mauser, 7mm 08? It really just comes down to case capacity. All those cartridges are going to have a very similar twist rate, something like 1 in 9.5, 1 in 9.25, sometimes 1 in 9. But the Rim Mag is just going to hold more powder. I will say it's not the most efficient 7 Rim Mag, but it holds more powder. It has more potential, especially when hand loading. I've heard many stories on my YouTube channel and comments of people that get well above the published velocities in reloading manuals, and even get better luck out of the heavier bullets, even when the book says that their twist rate is not enough for those heavy bullets. Had a lot of people tell me that they don't have any issues. So if you have a 7 Rim Mag and you do load heavier bullets than what your twist rate says you should, please leave it in the comments. I'd really love to know if that's true. But once again, the thing that separates the 7 Rim Mag is just more powder, okay? And like I said, it's a hunting cartridge, and a lot of times hunters are not concerned with efficiency. They're concerned with more powder. A little bit faster, coming out of the muzzle, therefore a little bit more energy downrange, therefore a little bit better killing power, and just a little bit better performance overall. There are some new cartridges like the 28 Nosler, which if you're looking for just velocity and energy is going to be a little bit better. However, the barrel life on the 7 Rim Mag is going to be much better than, say, a 28 Nosler. And the recoil will be a little bit less on the Rim Mag versus a Nosler. So it's just, do you want a little bit more energy and velocity, or do you want a little bit better barrel life and recoil? There's another cartridge that compares very similarly. In fact, it's an older cartridge, a 7mm Weatherby Magnum. The case dimensions are very similar. It does seem to get a little bit more velocity out of the cartridge than does the 7 Rim Mag, but it is very similar. It's been around a long time, and it's a great cartridge as well. However, most of your 7 Weatherby Magnums come in a 1 in 10 twist, and I would give the edge to the 7 Rim Mag, as it comes in usually, if it's a Remington, a 1 in 9 1/4 twist rate, which is better for your heavier bullets. Now, like I said, the 7 Rim Mag was basically a neck down version of a 300 H&H, which came from the 375 H&H, and shortened. But if you like that design philosophy, but you don't want it shortened and you want to keep the full length of the original H&H, the 7mm Shooting Times Westerner will do just that. It's the full length Magnum version of the 7 Rim Mag. However, they're not common, they're hard to find, and the availability edge will definitely go to the 7 Rim Mag. And that will lead me to my last point about the 7 Rim Mag is availability. It's still very popular, very common, easy to find. You know, it's right up there with your 308, your 223, your 243, your 270, your 30-06. They're just common rounds, and I guess there's some new ones that are getting through in there, like the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 6.5 PRC, but the 30-06, the 270, the 7 Mag, they're just cartridges that are never going to go away. They're always going to be popular. You're always going to find rifles chambered in those cartridges, and you're always going to find ammo for them. It's honestly a great cartridge to get in 2022 even, because it's still available, still common, and it just works. If you have a 7mm Rim Mag, I would love to hear about them today. Please leave it in the comments. Many of my subscribers have told me amazing things about their 7 Rim Mag and the hunting stories that they have. So if you have any hunting stories you'd like to share, or if you have a certain process that you do with reloading that you've discovered that is really good for the 7 Rim Mag, please leave it below. I hope you have a great day, and until next time, take care.